This is the plaintiff, Keith Hubbard. He says he was trying to be Mr. Nice Guy and rented his cottage to the defendant, who took terrible advantage of him. She secretly moved in her dog and her brother. He had to evict her and is now owed money for all the damage the ungrateful woman did to his once lovely place. He's suing for $1,812.51, the amount he's owed. This is the defendant, Michelle. She says the plaintiff and his girlfriend were very nice people when she first met them, but once she moved in, they terrorized her. That's right, the plaintiff's nothing more than a money-hungry, money-grubbing son of a gun who rented her an illegal dwelling and is now trying to extort money out of her. She knows the judge will see through his lies and she'll walk out of here the victor. She's accused of making a real mess of things.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff rented his cottage to the defendant and says that she double-crossed him by bringing in her dog and her brother. But the defendant says the plaintiff is all about the money. It's the case of a doggone.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, Keith Hubbard, you are suing, you've asked us to refer to you only as Michelle. Okay, you are suing Michelle for $1,812.51 in damages that you say she did to a cottage you were renting out to her. Tell me what happened.
When she had moved in, the agreement was there was to be no pets. Approximately December 15th, her brother...
When did she move in?
It was mid-December 2013.
That's when she moved in?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and how did she find your apartment? Do you know?
We met at Applebee's. She was a waitress there. My girlfriend and I would go there often. We had quite a few conversations, and we had found out that she was having some domestic issues. And she had asked...
What do you mean by domestic issues?
Problems with her stepfather, problems with her boyfriend at the time.
Okay, are you referring to violence or are you referring to just she needed a place to live?
Didn't get into that much of a detail as far as whether it was...
Go ahead. So you rented your place at the cost of how much?
It was $150 per week plus utilities, which was just electricity.
All right, and then what goes wrong?
In the beginning, what had gone wrong was she had started to miss payments on the rent. She was going to school, which allowed her to fall behind. The last straw, after she had accumulated approximately $2,500 in back rent, was allowing her brother to stay past the initial 2 weeks that he was supposed to. And although we didn't know he was coming up, we just found out one day he was coming up. He had also brought his dog.
Oh.
So the issue with the dog, there were brand new bamboo flooring installed in the cottage. So at the time after that we had discussed not having a dog, that's when things started to fall apart. She continued to miss payments. We eventually had to go to court to be able to have her evicted.
All right, now what happened in court when you tried to evict her?
Nothing happened. We didn't get as much as we were hoping for, but we settled somewhere in the middle. After we had presented our evidence to the judge, she had told the defendant's lawyer that...
Her lawyer?
Yes.
She had a lawyer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That she strongly suggested that we settle as opposed to going for absolutely nothing. We settled and we had won.
And then you got nothing?
Well, no, we actually are getting monies from that case for back rent and the rent...
Have you been getting paid?
She actually stopped paying and we had to go back to court to be able to get the full amount that we had settled for because she went pay.
But you mean a piece of paper that says that you're owed the full amount, or you
Yes,
mean
ma'am.
actually get her to pay it? How much have you been paid of the settlement?
We initially got $600, which was for the month of March, her being able to stay there. As far as the actual paying back the money she'd owed for rent, we didn't get anything.
Right. All right, so you folks had a settlement, from what I understand, where you were going to pay $1,700 and get out by a certain date.
Yes.
You didn't get out by that date, according to him, and you never paid the $1,700.
I do apologize. She did get out by March 31st, which was the date. It was just the back rent.
Okay. Did you pay the $1,700?
Yes, I did.
Who'd you pay it to?
I paid it to him.
He says you never paid him the $1,700 and that's why you owe him $3,000.
I actually have evidence that I did pay, and I do have receipts, and I actually went to court and let them know that I did pay. I do have my receipts. And, like, I actually don't know why he's saying that I didn't pay when I clearly did.
She says, show me the receipts of you paying him $1,700 after the settlement.
Sure.
So when somebody moves into an apartment with a dog, is it pretty much go without saying that there's gonna be some damage?
I mean, it really depends on the dog. If you know how well trained your dog is, then I
So
think
it's possible not to have damage?
yes.
Okay, what do you think?
Well, yeah, obviously it depends on the type of dog because my dog definitely is still a puppy and it does like to chew on things, so if it doesn't have enough toys, it does do damage.
Gotcha. Going inside the courtroom.
I'm sorry, this is a receipt for $150. Where are the $1,700? That's what I'm asking you.
Oh, the 17.
Yeah,
I'm paying
that's what I'm
him
asking.
$150 a month until next year.
Oh, that's not $1,700. The judge gave you X amount of time to do that.
Yeah. He
Right.
gave me a year.
If you don't do, he gave you a year.
Yeah.
Oh,
he
is that
gave
what
me-
the judge gave her? A year?
Yes, ma'am. I
Oh my
agree.
gosh, these judges are so generous with other people's money, aren't
I
they?
agreed to that. I mean, I
Oh,
know
you
that
agreed to it. Okay, all right.
although we have an issue with the rent, I know what her financial situation is more or less.
Okay.
And
So, all right, I'm going to leave that whether it's 17 or 3,000 up to another judge in another courtroom who made that decision. Apparently, according to you explained to the judge she missed a payment or whatever, and the judge said, well, now it's 3,000. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. He's here because according to you, she damaged the place when she moved out.
That's
Tell me
correct.
about that.
The hardwood floors are scratched. I have video of her admitting that the floors are scratched. She did state in the video that the lawyer had taken care of it during the procedure. If he did, then the stipulation of settlement would have said or referred to the,
I want to see your complaint in the eviction case, and I want to see the stipulation of settlement.
yes, ma'am. This is the stipulation of settlement.
He's suing you because, according to him, you damaged the place.
Yes.
Okay. What is your response to that?
That we had settled that in court.
Okay. And what makes you think that?
Because my lawyer and him and his girlfriend, we all had to go into a room and we had to come up with an amount that I was going to give him. So we agreed that I would
need
be
to
out.
see the complaint. Don't tell me the complaint's not here.
I don't have the original complaint.
Okay, that's what's going to tell me what this settled.
Well, maybe I'm
Because I
misunderstanding.
can't decide what this settles unless I know what the issue was. She's saying you had already been complaining about the damage. Had you been complaining about the damage?
No, not to be able
Okay,
to
I
have
need
her
to see
evicted.
the complaint. I need to see the complaint. If your original complaint had a suit for damages, then it would put that to rest. But if the original complaint did not have a suit for damages, and frankly, that's what makes sense because you hadn't even moved out yet,
Yeah.
okay, then this would not have put that to rest. So how could that original suit have also, this settlement have covered damages that didn't occur yet? He's saying you damaged it when you moved out.
That's a lie.
Okay, well, let's talk about the actual damage then, and then your defense will be not this was settled, your defense would be that never happened. Show me pictures. Do you have pictures of the damages that she created?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is a busted up door. This is quite a number on the wooden floors. What on earth happened to the wooden floors? I'm gonna send these her way.
Is that a missing plank?
No, it's not a missing plank.
Oh, I
It's
thought
all
it was.
scratched up. Oh, good Lord. What happened to those floors?
I was moving my bed, and then the bottom of my bed scratched the bottom of the floor.
Why weren't you more careful? Because you destroyed the floors. I mean, that's really bad. That requires redoing the whole. You had to redo the whole floor.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you redo the whole floor?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me see the receipt for that. That right there is $700 and something.
Oh, we had already talked
What
about
happened to
that.
this?
I have no idea what that is, honestly.
Okay. What's this other cost of the door, labor to repair the door, removal of debris for the door?
Yes, when you install a door, I'm not sure how familiar you are, you actually have to remove the siding on the outside and the sheetrock on the inside because it goes behind it, and then that has to be repaired, and the framing of the door, and...
May I see the receipts for that?
Well, that went through the contract. I didn't do that.
This one? Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. This is the contractors?
Yes.
I'm going to still insist that you get a copy before you leave of the original complaint. Did you have a lawyer in that case?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so where would the original complaint be besides court?
It would be, I would assume, at home. I
You
didn't
would
realize
have
it would
it?
be part of this case.
Yeah, it's fine, but you would have it, right?
Yes.
Okay, contingent upon you showing me that complaint so that I can determine whether or not this was settled in some other. Did you have a lawyer?
Yes, I did.
How did you afford a lawyer but you couldn't afford the rent?
Because in January, I stopped playing because he then threatened my brother.
How did you afford a lawyer?
I just saved my money from then. And plus, I worked 3 jobs.
If you had 3 jobs, why couldn't you just pay the rent? You wouldn't be in this position.
Because I literally could not stand living there anymore. It was bad.
But then don't live there. Apparently you could, because you lived there another from January until they got you out in April, so you could stand living there. You just couldn't stand paying the rent to live there. How did he threaten your brother?
He said that if my brother ever came over again, that he would call the cops and have him arrested.
That's it?
Yes.
That's your threat?
Yes.
Have you ever been threatened? Do you know what a threat is? All right, I'm ruling in favor of the plaintiff, but I'm holding it in abeyance until you submit the complaint. You understand me? And assuming that this does not handle the damages, then you are entitled to sue for the damages, and I am going to find in your favor in the total amount that you're suing for of $1,812.51, which is what the receipts say. Good luck.
Thank you.
So the gavel comes down on the plaintiff side here. Step in next to me, if you would, here, right here. What are your thoughts coming out on the losing end like this?
I have really no thoughts.
Why'd you drag that bed across the floor? You saw what it was doing, right?
I didn't really drag it. I tried to carry it, but just the bottom scratched a little bit. But if you were to see how the cottage really looked, you would understand what.
That you're allowed to do that to the floor?
No.
It didn't matter, or what?
No, that's the scratch.
If it was so bad, what'd you live there for so long for?
Because I was just going to school and working a lot and just
So I
saving
guess
my
it wasn't
money.
that bad. You lived there.
It was pretty bad, but I stayed at my boyfriend's house most of the time. I really wasn't there. I couldn't stand living next to him.
All right. Follow Officer McIntosh that way, okay? All right, so you come on in here and give us your feeling on this outcome here.
I'm obviously very happy that it turned out the way it did.
What was it like having her as a tenant?
It was peaceful for most of the time until the rent stopped getting paid, and then that became the only real concern. And then when the damage happened to the floor and the door, that was sort of the final.
Was the place a terrible mess that she couldn't live in? She had to go to her boyfriend's house?
Absolutely not, no.
No.
It's actually very
Harvey?
Okay, Kurt, so the plaintiff actually did submit all of the complaints and got the full judgment. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.